Hi, Paul Bedford here from Retention Guru, and in this clip, originally filmed in October 2023 at the CX Summit in Solihull in Birmingham, and that was hosted by Fitronix and Pro Insight. I talk about Disney's level of attention to detail in filmmaking and how that then translated across to the theme parks and the guest experience they had in their theme parks. And I then explore how we could take that principle and apply it to our clubs and facilities. If you've got any questions, put them in the box down below. But for the time being, enjoy the clip, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. For now, take care. Bye.
Say that if you're building a customer experience or you're looking to improve your customer experience, you're going to craft something. It's built over time. It's not a one and done. It's like establish what you want, where you want to start, and eventually build on that and keep refining and refining and refining. One of the things I notice a lot when I'm looking at businesses, I go in and look, one of the first things I ask to look at is their welcome letter, if they have one. The welcome letter that they send out when someone joins. And I read through it and just look often at how dreadful it is. Because it was often written more than a decade ago by someone who was given a task to write the welcome letter. Who wrote the welcome letter, it got ticked off and got filed, and that was it, and it's the same one sent out. And if you read it, it doesn't always resonate with what's going on now within the business. So, for me, it's about craft and experience. And there are no better people than craft and experiences than Disney. Now, I often don't use big company examples, but I'm going to use Disney today because I think it's the one that perhaps more people have experienced. And I haven't worked with Apple, so I don't feel right appropriate talking about what Apple do, and I haven't worked with them. So Walt Disney have a department called Imagineering, and they have a group of people called the Imagineers, who imagine everything that goes on at Disney. Now today I'm going to focus on their theme parks, because they are some of the most profitable businesses in the world. They cost a lot to run, but they make a lot of money as well. And they're very, very, very successful. Just out of interest, has anyone in here had the opportunity to visit one of the Disney parks? Look around the room. That's probably about a third of the room have had. Are there any people in here that have always wanted to go? We just haven't been yet. If it's appropriate, if you've got young children, the magic of Disney works as magic up until about 7. After 7, they want roller coasters. And they're like, I'm fed up with a small world. I need something a bit more exciting. But when you look at the Imagineering, if you take like Walt Disney and you think about the detail that went into the animations for the films, if you understand filming and recording, for every second there are 24 frames, which means for every one of these perhaps seconds of a film, there are 24 pictures. That's still true now. And you might see frame rate on things where it's got 24, 30, sometimes now they're 60 and 120 frames per second and faster. Which means if it's really, really fast, 120, if you slow it down, it still looks really smooth. So when slow motion filming's done, it's done at 120 frames per second. But think about the detail of that, every minute change. So Disney came from a perspective, before we built theme parks, of making things in 24th of a second increments. Attention to detail. How do you get Snow White to glide when you've got to do it 24 times in a second for however long she's gliding across the ballroom floor for? Detail, detail, detail. How does that show up in their parks? Well, it shows up a bit like this. Now, remember this, their purpose, if you've ever looked at Disney, they say, Disney theme parks, the happiest place on earth. Now, that's a title to live up to. Particularly when you're open from 10 a.m. in the morning till 1 a.m. the following morning, 365 days a year. It's the happiest place on earth. New Year's Eve every night. You see the fireworks. But it means that when they look at the layout of their parks, they pay attention to things like rubbish, chewing gum, where things are placed. So in a Disney theme park, if you walk around one of their theme parks, you'll never see those dots of chewing gum on the floor, because they clean them up every night. In fact, they had a company develop a chemical that they own, that they spray on chewing gum, that lifts the chewing gum off the floor. If you want to work for Disney, one of the major jobs that people start at with Disney is cleaning. They're cleaners. To be a cleaner at Disney is a 6-day training program before they allow you into the park. 6 days to be a cleaner. Day 1, orientation to the business. You get some history about what his ideas was, what the values of the business are, and where that's going. That's only delivered by 3 people per site that are given that responsibility to deliver that content. You go to Disney University, where they treat you the way they would treat a guest in the parks. You get trained during the first day about the layout of the park, the history of the park, and everything you need. You then get trained on where your locker is, where your costume is, because everything in Disney is under what's called a nomenclature of a show. So you don't have customers, you have guests, spelled always with a capital G. You don't have staff, you have performers. And you have crew, because the crew are the ones who are backstage making things happen. When Disney looked at keeping their parks clean, they said, it's easy to keep your parks clean if you can see the bin. If the park's already clean, it stays clean. If people can see a bin, they put rubbish in the bin. Many of the bins empty from the bottom and go under the ground to be collected, so there isn't someone wandering through the theme park with 2-wheel trolley thing loaded up with rubbish. Because that would break the magic of Disney. It goes in a chute. There's as much theme park underground as there is overground. It's where the staff quarters are, the staff canteens are, the offices are. There are roadways. There are refuge collection centres. It's where all the food comes in to be distributed up to the outlets. It's all been designed to be out of the sight because it breaks the image. If you see a truck pull up from 3663 delivering pizzas, it all comes underneath. So they're thinking about this. You're never out of eyesight of a bin at Disney. And as a result of that, when people go, where do I put my rubbish? They can see a bin. If you go up to a member of staff and ask them, where are the toilets? It becomes like a show. They open their jacket, they pull out a map, and they go, well, if you walk around here, and you're like, no, just point. But they want it to be an experience, even if you ask a question.